Hey guys, you ever been working in your vault and you wonder why it is that you don't see certain folders but others you do? Well, this Q-tip is for you. Right now I'm logged in as Gary. The username Gary in this vault is only in one group. He is in the Design Engineers group. So right now we have Gary, Tim Webb, and T. Rendon in this group called Design Engineers. If we look at the folder permissions and we look at the assigned folder permissions, there are none assigned yet. So there are no visibility permissions in any of the folders inside any part of the vault. But if you look at the state permissions, it's possible that in the CAD workflow, the design engineers might have a few permissions here and there, but as a whole, it looks like the permissions haven't been set. So here's how you resolve that. Looking inside the vault, all of these folders are great. I've logged into this vault before as another user, so there's files that have been cached before. If I change the folder permissions inside the Demo PDM vault, at the top level vault, if I click on Read File Contents, then that should turn on the folders. But in order for the visibility permission to be allowed, the permissions at the folder level and at the state level have to match. Once they match, the permission is allowed. Looking at this from a user administration perspective, if you want to control the permissions by the states, then all you have to do is allow whatever permissions you're going to in the folders, but then limit them at the state level, and puts together a well-rounded approach for administering your users. So let's go ahead and save this permission. We've got it set for the top level Demo PDM Read File Contents. It also would help to show working versions of files, especially if it's a design engineer. Let's click OK and see how that changes Gary's view. Going right back to the vault, all I have to do is click refresh, and suddenly I see the folders. The folders are now green, and then I can explore the folders. That means that I can read the file contents throughout the entire vault. But if I look inside any one of these, and I want to take a look at one of the files, I probably don't have the permissions to do that yet either. So there's no files that show up in the folders. If we then set the permission at the state level, we will be able to see the files that are in the states in those folders. Let's go make that change. We'll go back to the Design Engineers group, go to the folder permissions that we have set before. We have assigned Demo PDM. We have the ability to read file content, show working versions of files. If we go to state permissions and then we go to the EQ CAD, that's the workflow that these files will be in. Each one of these CAD created, design check, drafting check, ready, whip, all of those. Let's just go ahead and set those for this group to read file contents. By the way, if the box has a block in it, that means that some of the states selected have the permission allowed and others don't. So then it partially fills in the box. If we go to CAD created, we want the design engineers to be able to add and rename, check out, delete, edit version-free variables. We'll get into that in another Q-tip. Move file if that is something that your data management strategy will allow, and then read file contents. Design check, drafting check, and CAD ready are all review states, and so those really should only be set for read file contents because we don't want modifications being made at that time. CAD whip, definitely want to add, check out, delete, and I never recommend using the destroy permission unless you're an admin, because that's just that can be a dangerous permission for your data management strategy. Edit version-free variables, I think that's good enough. And I think the rest of these having read-only read file contents is adequate. We'll click OK. Then when we go back and we refresh, we now see the parts and the files that are inside the folders. Hopefully this Q-tip has been helpful for you. Believe in the Q.